I'm in eastern Connecticut and surprise, surprise, it's raining. But we have Griff's car from Back to the Future, and this is just the beginning of 3 weeks of Back to the Future releases leading up to the anniversary of Back to the Future. So we're calling the month of October the month of Back to the Future. And we're starting with Griff's BMW. It's raining, and it's a convertible, so we'll see what we can get.
I've had plenty of dreams where that's what I'm doing, is just flying in the DeLorean and on Back to the Future movie, music is playing and I'm my own movie. And I knew at that point in my life I was going to be devoted to the Back to the Future films, but little did I know at that point I would end up owning one of the original screen-used cars. My name is Jeff Shabbat and I'm in Amston, Connecticut, and I own a movie car. I happen to own Griff's BMW from Back to the Future Part 2. It's a '76 BMW. The BMW 6 Series came out in 1976 as a two-door coupe that wasn't imported into the US at that time frame. The vehicle itself is a German market car. All the gauges are in German. It's a manual transmission. It was among the, I think it was the number 717th vehicle off the line.
Welcome to the Cafe 80s.
In the movie, it was basically lifted off screen by a forklift. They lowered it down. It didn't run at all. It was, obviously, it was never meant to run in the movie. It was just supposed to be a static screen car. When Marty comes out of the Cafe 80s and you see the gang running out of the Cafe 80s, it's the glory shot of the car. Marty's on the hoverboard and Griff takes a swing at him with his bat that he hits his own car with it. So it's kind of a, I don't want to say plot point for the movie, but it's got its relevance. After it left the set, it apparently ended up in a car museum in Branson, Missouri. It was there for a few years on display. And after that, a gentleman in Georgia that I knew had decided he wanted to buy it and turn around and try to restore it. He didn't quite get to it the way he wanted to. And I told him, I said, you ever decide that you want to sell that car, let me know. So 6 months later, he sends me an email. He's like, for various reasons, I decided to let the Griff car go. You asked me, and I know that you really would give it a good home. And he said, would you still like to get the car? So yeah, absolutely, he jumped on the opportunity. My dad and I drove down to Georgia, picked it up, hauled it all the way back on the back of a U-Haul trailer. We hauled it all the way back up during a blizzard. Washington, D.C. was a parking lot, and we had basically gotten it back up here. My dad told his friends, like, my son has this car from the movie, would you guys be interested in having it in the show? Right away. Yeah, as soon as he said, if that car is in any show-worthy condition, he's got a spot at my car show. It was 3 weeks we had basically to get this car together. So after work, it was drive up to this guy's house who was helping me do the restoration. We parked it in there and we would sand and Bondo and fiberglass and paint and swap the interior completely out because the other interior was moldy and everything. The day of the show that we had to load it up there was when we were putting the last little bits and pieces on it, like the wheel pod covers and stuff that had been sanded and redone. It was pretty much like, this is going to be a labor of love because it will downright kill you. So it was one of those things where, I had to do it for the fans. At that time, after I had gotten it back together, I had gotten it running, and it's a pretty scary drive on 40-year-old suspension. It surprisingly got enough stout to not fall apart and to not stop in the middle of the road as long as you're giving it gas. The clutch is very, very touchy.
I'm a good driver, I think. So I don't think it's the way I drive, but okay. Yep. Damn it. Oh my God. So don't be afraid to rev it. I did. Get it in first gear. I'm trying not to kill my. Oh, shut up. Press the gas. Build the revs. Let go. Damn it. Get in first gear. Get it in first. There we go. Oh God. Is there any cars? Get out of the road because I'm gonna run you over. Hey.
Feel it dragging on, you push the clutch in while you
Oh God, the shifter's in my hand. All right, we're moving. I figured this car out, and we're actually driving. Doesn't go very quickly. I've got my foot in the firewall, and it's 2,000 RPM, and the speedo is just bouncing off the bottom. So there is a story to this car as to why it drives and acts the way it does. I don't think I'm ever getting into second gear in this car. Maybe I will in 5 minutes. This car was never meant to drive. It never did drive in the movie. It sat on a forklift to look like it was hovering when Griff showed up on the scene. So this car was never built to drive. It was never meant to move. And the production went and found the cheapest BMW they could. It was 400 bucks. It was a gray market import. It even has all the German writing on all the dials. This is a car that was never meant to be on the road. But luckily, and thanks to the great efforts of Jeff, this is a movie car that actually is on the road, and with a little more work can possibly be a living car. Can I make that hill?
Maybe.
And it begins.
It was possible that if you did the car over too much, that it would not look accurate to the movie. So I think the car is great because it's very low maintenance. You can touch up here and there just as Griff would own it. It doesn't have to be pristine 100-point car. And you can put chickens and dogs in it too. The Back to the Future series is a timeless movie where no matter what age group, there's new fans. Every generation, people growing up showing their kids. Those kids are going to grow up and showing their kids. At 8 years old and not knowing what to expect, just as soon as the car made its entrance, coming out of the back of Doc's van, and it's just like that was the coolest thing that you would see all summer. Just watching the movie, it was just a fantasy thrill ride. What was it like to see your parents when they were young? My son absolutely loves to watch the movies. Oh, he loves helping me work on the car. We had to redo the wheel pods, after we've gotten them back, and we had some light work to do, and he loves to help me clean it up and wants to know, Dad, can we go out in the garage and work on the car? Having the screen used car is cool when you do have the true fans who know what vehicle it is. It makes you feel pretty cool, and you love to see people smile. I think it's really cool that I can go and watch the movie and walk 20 feet to my garage and point out to that car. It's like that car was in the movie. It probably more or less belongs to people who really want to take care of it. I just consider myself a caretaker for the car at the time. Somebody else is going to come along and be a caretaker for that car too. Everybody recognizes the DeLorean, but it really takes that certain kind of geek to see that car and instantly recognize what that is. Oh yeah, I would be the geekiest, probably one of the geekiest. I mean, I own the movie car. How much geekier can you get than being the guy who owns a car from the movie?
Be sure to like, share, subscribe, but most of all, share it. That way it gets on your Facebook. That way we get more people watching it. That way we grow, and we can keep doing this. Oh man, I have never stalled a car this much in my life. Second gear! Hey, we're building speed now. Okay, all right.